Maya Rodriguez walked into the community college classroom with her worn backpack and second-hand textbooks. At 28, she was older than most students around her. Her hands showed calluses from years of cleaning office buildings at night to support her two young children. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as she found a seat in the middle row of Introduction to Computer Programming. Professor David Chen stood at the front, adjusting his expensive tie. He had been teaching at Riverside Community College for 12 years and made sure everyone knew about his computer science degree from Stanford. His eyes swept across the room, lingering on Maya's simple clothes and tired expression. "Welcome to Programming 101, Professor Chen announced. This course separates the serious students from those who think technology is easy. Many of you will drop out within the first month." Maya opened her notebook, a cheap spiral-bound one from the dollar store. She had saved money for 3 months to afford this class. Her dream was to become a software developer and give her children a better life. She had taught herself basic coding using free online videos during lunch breaks at work. "Let me be clear," Professor Chen continued, his voice carrying across the silent room. "Programming requires mathematical thinking and logical reasoning. It's not for everyone." His gaze stopped on Maya again. "Some people think they can just show up and learn to code. They're usually wrong." The first assignment was to write a simple program that calculated compound interest. Maya worked on it that evening after putting her children to bed. Her laptop was old and slow, a refurbished machine she had bought with her tax refund. The screen flickered sometimes, but it worked. She remembered the math from her high school days, though it took time to come back to her. The programming syntax was new, but she had studied the textbook carefully. She wrote her code, tested it multiple times, and submitted it before the deadline. When Professor Chen returned the assignments the following week, he called out names and grades. Williams, B+. Johnson, A-. Peterson, C+. He paused when he reached Maya's paper. "Rodriguez," he said, holding up her assignment. D-. Maya's heart sank. She had been confident about her work. She raised her hand tentatively. "Professor Chen, could you explain what I did wrong? I tested my program several times." Professor Chen smiled, but it wasn't friendly. "Ms. Rodriguez, your code technically works, but it shows a fundamental misunderstanding of efficient programming. You've written what we call brute force code. It gets the job done, but it's not elegant." Several students turned to look at Maya. Her cheeks burned with embarrassment. "Perhaps," Professor Chen continued, "you might consider whether this field is right for you. Programming isn't just about making something work. It's about doing it correctly." Maya wanted to argue, but she had learned long ago not to make scenes. She had faced dismissive attitudes before because of her background. Instead, she nodded and made notes about what she could improve. That night, Maya researched programming efficiency. She found articles about algorithm optimization and watched videos about clean coding practices. She discovered that while her solution worked, there were indeed more elegant approaches. But she also learned that many professional programmers started with working solutions and then refined them. The second assignment was more complex, creating a program that managed a simple inventory system. Maya spent hours at the library using their faster computers. She implemented error checking, user-friendly interfaces, and even added features that weren't required. When she submitted her work, she felt proud of what she had accomplished. The program not only met all requirements but exceeded them. Professor Chen distributed the graded assignments with his usual ceremony. "Most of you are improving," he announced. "However, some still don't understand what quality programming looks like." He held up Maya's assignment. "Rodriguez, C-." Maya stared at the grade in disbelief. She had put in twice as much work as the first assignment and implemented advanced features. "Professor," she said, trying to keep her voice steady, "I added input validation and error handling that weren't required. The program handles edge cases that could crash simpler versions." Professor Chen's expression became condescending. Ms. Rodriguez, you've overcomplicated a simple assignment. Good programming is about simplicity and clarity, not showing off with unnecessary features. A student named Brad, who often made jokes during class, snickered. Maybe she's trying too hard to prove she belongs here. Professor Chen didn't correct Brad's comment. Instead, he moved on to the next assignment. Your third project will be a group assignment. I'll assign partners based on similar skill levels. When he announced the partnerships, Maya found herself paired with Jessica, another student who had been struggling. Meanwhile, Brad was partnered with Tom, one of the strongest programmers in class. This is clearly designed to set us up for failure, Jessica whispered to Maya after class. Maya nodded, but she had an idea. What if we prove him wrong? What if we create something amazing? The group assignment was to build a small database application for a fictional business. Most students chose simple projects like address books or recipe collections. Maya suggested they tackle something more ambitious. Let's create a comprehensive system for a small business, Maya proposed to Jessica. Inventory management, customer tracking, sales reporting, and employee scheduling. Jessica looked worried. That sounds like way more work than necessary. It is, Maya admitted. But, if we're going to be underestimated anyway, let's give them something they can't ignore. They met at Maya's apartment to work on the project. Maya's children, 8-year-old Carlos and 6-year-old Sofia, played quietly in the living room while the two women coded at the kitchen table. How do you know so much about business systems? Jessica asked as Maya explained database relationships. I've worked a lot of different jobs, Maya replied. I've seen what works and what doesn't. Most small businesses struggle with organization. If we can create something that actually solves real problems, it shows we understand both programming and practical application. They worked every evening for 2 weeks. Maya taught Jessica advanced concepts she had learned through online courses and coding forums. They implemented user authentication, data encryption, and backup systems. The interface was clean and intuitive, with helpful error messages and confirmation dialogues. The night before the presentation, Maya tested every feature multiple times. The application ran smoothly, handled various scenarios gracefully, and included documentation explaining each component. We did it, Jessica said, exhausted but proud. This is better than some commercial software I've used at work. Maya smiled, but she felt nervous about Professor Chen's reaction. Throughout the semester, he had made increasingly pointed comments about her work. During one lecture about career prospects in technology, he had mentioned that coding bootcamps and community colleges produced adequate programmers at best. The presentation day arrived, and Maya dressed more carefully than usual. She wore her best blouse and the professional blazer she had bought for job interviews. She wanted to look the part of a serious programmer. Brad and Tom presented first. They had created a basic inventory system with standard features. Their code was clean and followed textbook examples closely. Professor Chen nodded approvingly and asked several technical questions that they answered adequately. Solid work, he commented. This demonstrates good understanding of fundamental concepts and proper programming practices. Other groups presented similar projects, address books, recipe databases, simple scheduling systems. Professor Chen's feedback was generally positive, praising their adherence to course materials and proper coding standards. Finally, it was Maya and Jessica's turn. They connected Maya's laptop to the projector, and their application's login screen appeared. We've created a comprehensive business management system, Maya began, her voice clear despite her nervousness. It integrates inventory, customers, sales, and scheduling into one cohesive platform. She demonstrated the inventory module first, showing how users could add products, track stock levels, and receive automatic reorder alerts. The interface was intuitive, with drag-and-drop functionality and real-time updates. This is unnecessarily complex, Professor Chen interrupted. The assignment was for a simple database application. We met all the basic requirements, Jessica replied, finding her confidence. But we also wanted to show how these concepts apply to real-world scenarios. Maya continued the demonstration, showing customer relationship management features, sales analytics with charts and graphs, and an employee scheduling system that automatically flagged conflicts. The class was paying attention now. Several students leaned forward to see the screen better. Maya noticed one student taking notes on their features. The architecture uses modular design principles, Maya explained. Each component can function independently while sharing data through a central database. This makes the system scalable and maintainable. She showed the code structure, explaining their use of object-oriented programming, error handling, and security measures. The code was well commented and organized into logical modules. Professor Chen's expression had shifted from dismissive to focused attention. He asked several technical questions about their implementation choices. Maya answered each one confidently, explaining their reasoning and alternatives they had considered. "How did you learn about encryption protocols?" he asked. "That's not covered in this course." "I researched it independently," Maya replied. "If we're handling business data, security is essential. I found documentation and tutorials online." When the presentation ended, the classroom was quiet for a moment. Then, Sarah, one of the stronger students, raised her hand. "Could you show the reporting features again? That dashboard looked really professional." Maya smiled and navigated back to the analytics section. The system generated various reports: sales trends, inventory turnover, customer purchase patterns. The charts were clear and informative, exactly what a business owner would need. Professor Chen was taking notes now. "This represents significantly more work than required," he said finally. While the functionality is impressive, the assignment specification called for simplicity. Maya felt her hopes sinking. Even when they exceeded expectations, it seemed impossible to gain his approval. However, Professor Chen continued, "The technical implementation is sophisticated. Your use of advanced concepts shows initiative in learning beyond course materials." It wasn't the praise Maya had hoped for, but it wasn't dismissal either. After class, several students approached Maya and Jessica to ask about their development process. Tom, Brad's partner, was particularly interested in their security implementation. "How long did this take you?" he asked. "About 2 weeks of evening work," Jessica replied. "Maya did most of the advanced programming, but she taught me a lot in the process." Brad, who had made the earlier mocking comment, looked uncomfortable. "It's pretty impressive," he admitted quietly. As Maya packed up her laptop, she overheard Professor Chen talking to another instructor in the hallway. "Rodriguez created something quite sophisticated," he was saying. "Her technical skills are stronger than I initially assessed." Maya's heart lifted slightly. Maybe she was making progress after all. That evening, as she helped Carlos with his math homework while Sophia colored at the kitchen table, Maya reflected on the semester so far. The challenges had been harder than she expected, not just academically but personally. Professor Chen's dismissive attitude had stirred up old insecurities about her ability to succeed in a professional field. But tonight felt different. She had proven something to herself and, maybe to others. Her application wasn't just functional, it was genuinely useful and well-crafted. She had taken initiative to learn advanced concepts and applied them successfully. Carlos looked up from his homework. "Mom, are you becoming a computer scientist now?" Maya smiled and ruffled his hair. "I'm learning to be one, Mijo. It takes time, but I'm getting there." Sophia added another flower to her drawing. "Will you make computer programs for kids too?" "Maybe someday," Maya replied. "What kind of program would you want?" "Something that helps kids learn to read better," Sophia said seriously. "Some of my friends have trouble with big words." Maya made a mental note. Educational software could be an interesting specialization. She was already thinking beyond this introductory course, imagining the possibilities that programming could open up. The semester was only half over, and Maya knew there would be more challenges ahead. Professor Chen's attitude might not change completely, but she had started to change how she saw herself. She wasn't just a struggling student trying to keep up. She was someone with potential, someone who could bring unique perspectives and solutions to the field. As she tucked her children into bed that night, Maya felt a quiet determination building inside her. She had faced skepticism and dismissal before in other aspects of her life. This was just another challenge to overcome, another barrier to push through on her way to building a better future for her family. The fourth assignment changed everything. Professor Chen announced it with unusual excitement, pacing in front of the whiteboard with more energy than Maya had seen from him all semester. "Your final project will count for 40% of your grade," he declared. "You'll design and implement a solution to a real problem. I've partnered with 3 local businesses who need actual software solutions. This isn't theoretical anymore." He wrote 3 company names on the board: Martinez Auto Repair, Sunset Veterinary Clinic, and Green's Family Restaurant. Maya's attention sharpened immediately. These were the kinds of small businesses she understood from her work experience. "Each business has submitted a problem they need solved," Professor Chen continued. "You'll work individually, meet with the business owners, and deliver a functioning solution they can actually use. This is how programming works in the real world." Students started murmuring among themselves. This was significantly more challenging than their previous assignments. Maya felt excited rather than intimidated. Finally, a chance to show what she could really do. "I'll assign each of you to a business based on your demonstrated skills and interests," Professor Chen said. His eyes moved across the room, mentally cataloging each student's abilities. When he announced the assignments, Maya wasn't surprised to hear her name paired with Martinez Auto Repair. It was probably intended as the most basic assignment, dealing with a blue-collar business rather than the more prestigious veterinary clinic or restaurant. "Rodriguez, you'll work with Carlos Martinez at Martinez Auto Repair. They need a system to track vehicle repairs and parts inventory." Brad got the veterinary clinic, while Sarah received the restaurant assignment. Maya noticed the pattern but didn't let it bother her. She actually felt grateful for the assignment. Auto repair shops dealt with complex logistics, customer management, and inventory challenges that would let her create something genuinely useful. The next day, Maya drove to Martinez Auto Repair in her 15-year-old Honda. The shop was located in an older part of town, surrounded by warehouses and small manufacturing businesses. The building was modest but well-maintained, with 3 service bays and a small office area. Carlos Martinez met her at the front desk. He was about 50, with grease-stained hands and kind eyes that crinkled when he smiled. His accent reminded Maya of her own father's voice. "You're the student who's going to help us with computers?" he asked. "I have to admit, I'm not very good with technology, but my son keeps telling me we need to modernize." Maya shook his hand. "I'm Maya Rodriguez. Tell me about your current process for tracking repairs and inventory." Carlos led her through the shop, explaining their system with obvious frustration. They used paper work orders, handwritten receipts, and a mixture of filing cabinets and cardboard boxes for organization. Parts inventory was tracked on clipboards hanging in the storage room. "When a customer calls asking about their car, I have to dig through all these papers," Carlos explained, gesturing at stacks of work orders. "Sometimes I can't find the right one, or I give them wrong information about when it'll be ready." Maya watched him search through a filing cabinet for a specific repair order. It took 5 minutes to find it, and, when he did, the handwriting was barely legible. "How do you handle parts ordering?" Maya asked. "That's even worse," Carlos sighed. "I try to keep track of what we have, but I'm always running out of common parts or ordering too much of things we don't need. Last week I had to make 3 trips to the auto parts store because I didn't know we were out of oil filters." As Carlos explained their challenges, Maya saw the scope of what needed to be built. This wasn't just a simple tracking system. It was a complete business management solution that could transform how they operated. "What's your biggest headache?" Maya asked. "Customer communication," Carlos replied without hesitation. "People want to know exactly when their car will be ready, how much it'll cost, what work was done. Right now, I'm constantly playing phone tag or giving people estimates that turn out to be wrong. Maya spent 2 hours at the shop, observing their workflow and talking with Miguel, Carlos's 25-year-old son who handled most of the complex repairs. Miguel had computer skills but no time to learn programming. We've looked at commercial software, Miguel explained, but it's either too expensive or too complicated. The cheap systems don't do what we need, and the professional ones cost more than we make in a month. Driving home, Maya's mind raced with possibilities. She could create something that actually solved their problems while demonstrating advanced programming concepts. This was an opportunity to build something meaningful, not just complete an assignment. That evening, while her children did homework at the kitchen table, Maya sketched out a system architecture. She identified the core components: customer management, vehicle tracking, work order processing, parts inventory, scheduling, and reporting. But she also saw opportunities for features that would set her solution apart: automated customer notifications, predictive inventory management, and mobile access for the mechanics. The first challenge was choosing the right technology platform. She researched various options, considering the shop's limited technical expertise and budget constraints. Web-based solutions would be accessible from any device but required internet connectivity. Desktop applications would be more reliable but harder to maintain. She decided on a hybrid approach, a web-based system that could function offline and sync when connected. This would give Martinez Auto Repair flexibility while ensuring their data was always backed up and accessible. Maya started with the database design, mapping out relationships between customers, vehicles, repairs, parts, and employees. She had learned from her previous assignment that solid architecture was crucial for complex systems. She spent 3 evenings just on database planning, creating detailed diagrams and testing different scenarios. Professor Chen held regular check-in meetings to monitor progress. During the first meeting, he reviewed each student's initial plans. Brad presented his veterinary clinic solution, a basic appointment scheduling system with patient records. The clinic wants to track animal vaccinations and medical histories, he explained. I'm building a simple database with forms for entering and retrieving information. Sarah described her restaurant system. They need to track daily sales, menu items, and employee schedules. I'm creating separate modules for each function. When Maya's turn came, she connected her laptop to Professor Chen's projector and displayed her system architecture diagram. Martinez Auto Repair needs comprehensive workflow management, she began. I've identified 7 interconnected components that will automate their entire process. She explained the customer portal that would let people check repair status online, the predictive inventory system that would automatically suggest parts orders based on usage patterns, and the mobile interface that would let mechanics update work orders from the shop floor. Professor Chen leaned back in his chair, studying the diagram. This is significantly more ambitious than the other projects, Rodriguez. Are you sure you can implement all of this? I've broken it down into manageable modules, Maya replied. Each component can be developed and tested independently, then integrated into the complete system. What's your timeline for development? Maya had prepared for this question. Core functionality within 3 weeks, advanced features in the final 2 weeks before the deadline. I'll deliver a working system that meets their immediate needs, with the option to expand features later. After the meeting, Professor Chen pulled Maya aside. Rodriguez, I admire your ambition, but this project could easily fail if you overreach. Perhaps you should consider simplifying your approach. Maya met his gaze steadily. Mr. Martinez is depending on this solution to improve his business. I want to deliver something that actually helps him, not just something that meets minimum assignment requirements. Professor Chen nodded slowly. Very well. But, remember, you'll be evaluated on execution, not just intention. Maya spent the next 2 weeks in intensive development mode. She coded late into the night after her children were asleep, tested features during lunch breaks at work, and troubleshoot problems on weekends. Her old laptop struggled with the demands of running multiple development tools simultaneously, but she made it work. The customer management module came together first. Maya created a clean interface for entering customer information, vehicle details, and service history. She added features like automatic warranty tracking and service reminders that would help the shop build customer loyalty. The work order system was more complex. Maya designed it to mirror the shop's natural workflow: customer check-in, diagnostic assessment, parts ordering, repair execution, quality control, and customer notification. Each step triggered automatic updates and notifications. The inventory management module was where Maya really showcased her skills. She implemented predictive algorithms that analyzed repair patterns to suggest optimal parts quantities. The system could track parts across multiple suppliers, compare prices automatically, and generate purchase orders when stock levels hit predetermined thresholds. During her second visit to the shop, Maya demonstrated the partially completed system to Carlos and Miguel. She had loaded sample data that reflected their actual customer base and recent repairs. "Watch this," Maya said, pulling up a work order for Mrs. Johnson's brake repair. When Miguel marks this as complete, the system automatically calculates the final cost, updates parts inventory, and sends Mrs. Johnson a text message that her car is ready. She clicked the complete button, and, within seconds, her own phone buzzed with a professionally formatted message: "Your 2018 Honda Accord is ready for pickup. Total cost, $187.50. Thank you for choosing Martinez Auto Repair." Carlos stared at the screen in amazement. "It does all that automatically? And it logs everything for your records," Maya added, showing him the detailed history that appeared in the customer's file. "If Mrs. Johnson comes back in 6 months, you'll know exactly what work was done and which parts were used." Miguel tried the mobile interface on his smartphone, adding a note to an active work order and updating a parts request. The changes appeared instantly on the main system. "This is incredible," Miguel said. "How much would something like this cost to buy?" Maya had researched commercial solutions. Systems with these features start around $3,000, plus monthly subscription fees. And they typically require extensive customization to match your specific workflow. Carlos shook his head in wonder. "You really think this will work for us?" "I'm building it specifically for how you work," Maya replied. "Every feature is designed around the challenges you described." Back at school, Maya noticed a change in how other students viewed her. Word had spread about her project's scope and complexity. During the computer lab sessions, students would ask her questions about programming techniques and system design approaches. Tom, who had been one of the strongest programmers in class, watched Maya work on her database optimization code. "How did you learn about query indexing?" he asked. "That's not covered in our textbook." "I found documentation online," Maya replied, not looking up from her screen. When you're working with real data volumes, performance becomes critical. I needed to understand how to make database queries run faster. Even Brad, who had made dismissive comments earlier in the semester, seemed impressed despite himself. "Your auto repair system sounds more advanced than some commercial software my dad's dealership uses," he admitted during a break between classes. Maya appreciated the recognition, but she remained focused on her goal. She had promised Carlos Martinez a solution that would transform his business, and she intended to deliver on that promise. The integration phase proved most challenging. Connecting 7 different modules while maintaining data consistency and system stability required careful coordination. Maya created extensive test scenarios, simulating a full day's operations at the shop to ensure everything worked smoothly. She also developed comprehensive documentation and training materials. Maya understood that the best software was useless if people couldn't use it effectively. She created step-by-step guides with screenshots, video tutorials for common tasks, and troubleshooting instructions for potential problems. Professor Chen scheduled individual meetings to review each student's progress 2 weeks before the final deadline. When Maya's appointment arrived, she brought her laptop and a printed presentation summarizing her development process and results. "Show me what you've built," Professor Chen said, settling behind his desk. Maya connected to the college's Wi-Fi and logged into her development server. The Martinez Auto Repair Management System loaded quickly, displaying a clean dashboard with real-time statistics and pending tasks.
This is the main interface that Carlos would see when he arrives each morning, Maya explained.
She pointed to various dashboard elements: scheduled appointments, work orders in progress, parts requiring reorder, and customer messages requiring responses. She demonstrated the customer check-in process, walking through how a new repair request would be entered, estimated, and scheduled. The system automatically checked for previous service history, warranty status, and recommended maintenance based on the vehicle's mileage and service records.
Professor Chen watched intently as Maya showed the work order workflow, parts inventory management, and customer communication features.
She demonstrated how the system handled complex scenarios: warranty repairs that required manufacturer approval, custom work requiring special parts ordering, and emergency repairs that needed immediate attention. This integration with parts suppliers is particularly sophisticated, Professor Chen observed as Maya showed the automated pricing comparisons.
How did you implement the real-time pricing data?
I researched supplier APIs and created adapters for the 3 main parts distributors that Carlos uses, Maya explained. The system checks current pricing and availability every hour, so he always has accurate information for customer estimates. Professor Chen was quiet for several minutes, clicking through different sections of the application. He tested the mobile interface on his tablet, created sample work orders, and examined the reporting capabilities. Rodriguez, this represents professional-level development work, he said finally. The scope and execution are remarkable for a student project.
Maya felt a warm flush of satisfaction.
Thank you, Professor. I wanted to create something that would genuinely help Mr. Martinez's business. You've succeeded in that goal, Professor Chen replied.
But, I have to ask, did you receive outside help with this development?
The sophistication level seems beyond what I would expect from someone with only 1 semester of programming experience. Maya straightened in her chair.
I did all the coding myself.
I spent significant time researching advanced techniques and learning concepts beyond our coursework, but every line of code is my own work.
Professor Chen nodded slowly. I believe you.
Your earlier assignments showed this potential, even when I didn't recognize it fully. There was something in his tone that suggested regret, but Maya didn't dwell on it. She was too excited about completing her project and seeing how it would work in the real business environment.
Your presentation to the class is next week, Professor Chen said. Given the complexity of your system, I'm extending your time slot to 30 minutes instead of the standard 15. Maya left the meeting feeling energized and confident.
She had overcome every challenge so far, and the finish line was finally in sight.
Presentation day arrived with unexpected drama.
Maya woke up to find her laptop screen completely black.
No matter what she tried, the old machine wouldn't start up.
Panic shot through her as she realized all her work was potentially lost just hours before the final presentation. She called Jessica, her former project partner, who arrived within 30 minutes with her own laptop. Maya's hands shook as she logged into her cloud backup system, praying that her automatic sync had worked properly. After several tense minutes, her complete project loaded successfully from the online storage.
Thank goodness you set up cloud backup, Jessica breathed, watching Maya's application launch flawlessly on the borrowed laptop. Maya had learned the importance of redundant backups from online developer forums.
The habit that seemed like over-preparation had just saved her semester.
At school, the classroom was set up differently for presentation day. Professor Chen had arranged the desks in a semicircle facing the projector screen.
3 local business owners sat in the front row: Carlos Martinez from the auto repair shop, Dr. Sarah Williams from Sunset Veterinary Clinic, and Tom Green from the family restaurant.
Maya felt nervous energy coursing through her as students filed in. This wasn't just a class presentation anymore.
Real business owners would be evaluating solutions that could change how they operated. Professor Chen called the class to order and introduced the visiting business owners.
Today's presentations represent real-world applications of programming skills.
These solutions will be evaluated not just academically, but for their practical value to actual businesses.
Brad presented first.
His veterinary clinic system was clean and functional, with forms for entering patient information and tracking vaccination schedules.
Dr. Williams asked several questions about data security and backup procedures.
Brad answered competently, explaining his basic file backup system and password protection.
This would definitely help us organize patient records better, Dr. Williams commented. It's more structured than our current paper filing system. Sarah's restaurant management system came next.
She had created separate modules for inventory tracking, employee scheduling, and daily sales reporting. Tom Green tested the employee scheduling feature, noting how it prevented double booking shifts and tracked labor costs automatically. The sales reporting would help us understand which menu items are most popular, Tom observed.
Right now we just guess based on how quickly we run out of ingredients. Both presentations were solid work that would provide real benefits to the businesses. Maya felt the pressure building as her turn approached.
Her system was more complex, but that also meant more opportunities for something to go wrong during the demonstration.
Rodriguez, you're up, Professor Chen announced. Maya connected Jessica's laptop to the projector and took a deep breath.
Her system's login screen appeared, displaying the Martinez Auto Repair logo she had created.
Good morning, Maya began, her voice steady despite her nerves.
Mr. Martinez, when we first met, you told me your biggest challenges were tracking work orders, managing inventory, and communicating with customers.
I've built a comprehensive solution that addresses all of these issues.
She logged into the system using Carlos's credentials, and the main dashboard appeared.
The interface was clean and intuitive, with clearly labeled sections for different functions.
Real data from the shop populated charts and tables showing current work orders, inventory levels, and customer communications.
Carlos leaned forward in his seat, studying the screen with obvious interest.
Maya started with a typical customer interaction.
Mrs. Chen brings in her Honda for brake service.
Watch how the system guides us through the entire process. She demonstrated the customer check-in procedure, entering vehicle information and symptoms.
The system automatically pulled up Mrs. Chen's service history, showing previous brake work done 18 months ago and suggesting related maintenance based on the vehicle's mileage.
The system recommends checking brake fluid levels and rotor condition based on the previous repair and current mileage, Maya explained. This helps ensure comprehensive service and identifies potential future issues. She moved to the diagnostic phase, showing how mechanics could record findings and upload photos directly from their mobile devices. The interface was designed for users wearing work gloves, with large buttons and simple navigation. Miguel Martinez, who had joined his father for the presentation, raised his hand.
Can you show how we'd handle parts ordering? Maya smiled and switched to the inventory module. The system tracks parts usage patterns and automatically suggests reorder quantities.
Watch what happens when I mark brake pads as used for Mrs.
Chen's repair. She processed the parts usage, and the system immediately updated inventory levels.
A notification appeared indicating that brake pad stock was now below the optimal threshold. It's suggesting we reorder brake pads now, before we run out, Maya explained. The system learned from your historical usage that you typically go through a set of brake pads every 2 weeks, so it recommends maintaining a 3-week supply.
Carlos's eyes widened. It figured that out automatically?
The system analyzes your repair patterns and calculates optimal stock levels for each part, Maya confirmed. It even compares prices from your 3 regular suppliers and suggests the best deal. She demonstrated the automated pricing comparison, showing how the system had found brake pads for $12 less than the usual supplier by checking current prices from all 3 vendors.
Professor Chen was taking detailed notes, asking questions about the algorithms that powered the predictive inventory features.
Maya explained her approach to data analysis and pattern recognition, concepts she had learned through advanced online courses.
The customer communication features impressed everyone most.
Maya showed how the system automatically sent text message updates when repairs reached different milestones: diagnostic complete, parts ordered, work in progress, and ready for pickup. Customers can also log into a web portal to check their repair status anytime, Maya demonstrated, showing the customer view that displayed repair progress, cost estimates, and pickup instructions.
Tom Green, the restaurant owner, asked, how difficult would it be to adapt this system for other types of businesses? Maya had anticipated this question.
I designed the architecture to be modular and configurable. The core principles of work order management, inventory tracking, and customer communication apply to many service businesses. The specific workflows can be customized for different industries. Dr. Williams nodded approvingly.
The communication features alone would save our clinic hours of phone time every week.
Maya moved to the reporting section, displaying charts and graphs that visualized business performance. The system tracked revenue trends, popular services, customer retention rates, and parts profitability. Carlos could see exactly which services generated the most profit and which customers were most valuable to his business. This level of business intelligence typically requires expensive specialized software, Maya noted.
I've integrated these analytics directly into the workflow, so the data collection happens automatically.
She demonstrated the mobile responsiveness by switching to tablet view, showing how the interface adapted seamlessly to different screen sizes. Mechanics could update work orders from the shop floor, customers could check repair status from their phones, and Carlos could monitor business performance from anywhere. The final feature Maya revealed was the backup and security system. All data is encrypted and backed up continuously to secure cloud storage.
Even if the computer crashes, no information is lost.
Carlos raised his hand.
What happens if the internet goes down? The system works offline and syncs when connectivity returns, Maya replied.
Critical functions like work order creation and parts lookup continue working even without internet access. Professor Chen looked impressed despite himself.
Ms. Rodriguez, this represents enterprise-level functionality. How do you handle system maintenance and updates?
I've included remote update capabilities and comprehensive logging, Maya answered. I can monitor system performance and deploy improvements without disrupting daily operations. The presentation concluded with Maya walking through a complete repair workflow from start to finish. She showed how a customer's initial phone call would be logged, how the estimate would be generated and approved, how work would be tracked through completion, and how final invoicing and payment would be processed. The entire demonstration took 25 minutes, and Maya had barely scratched the surface of the system's capabilities. She had built something genuinely impressive that would transform how Martinez Auto Repair operated. When she finished, the classroom was quiet for several seconds.
Then, Carlos Martinez started clapping, and the rest of the room joined in. Even Professor Chen was applauding.
Ms. Rodriguez, Carlos said, standing up, when can we start using this system in our shop?
Maya smiled broadly.
It's ready for installation whenever you are, Mr. Martinez.
Dr.
Williams leaned toward Tom Green.
I wonder if she'd be willing to build something similar for veterinary clinics. After the presentations ended, several students gathered around Maya to ask technical questions.
Tom wanted to know about the database design that handled such complex relationships. Sarah was curious about the mobile optimization techniques Maya had used. Even Brad approached her, looking somewhat sheepish.
Maya, I owe you an apology.
I didn't take you seriously at the beginning of the semester.
What you've built is incredible.
Maya accepted his apology graciously.
We all have different learning paths. I'm just glad the project worked out. Professor Chen requested that Maya stay after class.
As the room cleared, he organized his notes and looked thoughtful. Rodriguez, I need to address something, he began. I made assumptions about your capabilities early in the semester that were unfair and inaccurate.
Maya waited, unsure how to respond.
Your work has consistently exceeded expectations, but I failed to recognize your potential because I was influenced by superficial factors.
That was unprofessional and wrong. Professor Chen's admission was unexpected.
Maya had hoped for acknowledgement of her abilities, but she hadn't expected a direct apology.
I appreciate you saying that, Maya replied.
I knew I had to prove myself, but I'm glad you can see what I'm capable of now. More than capable, Professor Chen said. What you've created rivals commercial software that costs thousands of dollars. Your technical skills, project management abilities, and understanding of business requirements are exceptional. He paused, seeming to gather his thoughts. I have contacts at several software companies. Would you be interested in internship opportunities? With your demonstrated abilities, you could bypass typical entry-level positions. Maya felt a surge of excitement mixed with disbelief. A few months ago, Professor Chen had questioned whether she belonged in the field at all. Now he was offering to help connect her with professional opportunities. I would be very interested, Maya said. I still have one more semester to complete my associate degree, but I'd love to explore industry opportunities. Professor Chen made notes in his calendar. I'll make some calls this week. Companies are always looking for developers who can bridge technical skills with business understanding. Your auto repair project demonstrates exactly that combination. As Maya packed up her materials, she reflected on the semester's journey. The challenges had been significant, both technical and personal. Professor Chen's initial skepticism had stung, but it had also motivated her to push beyond standard expectations. She thought about her children, who had been patient with her long study sessions and weekend project work. Carlos had helped test the mobile interface, pretending to be a mechanic updating work orders. Sophia had contributed design feedback, ensuring the customer portal was colorful and friendly. Their sacrifices were about to pay off in ways Maya had hardly dared to imagine. Carlos Martinez approached her as she headed to the parking lot. Maya, I want to discuss implementation timeline. How soon can we get this running in the shop? I can install it this weekend if you'd like, Maya replied. I'll train you and Miguel on all the features and provide ongoing support as you get comfortable with the system. Carlos beamed. This is going to change everything for us. Miguel and I were just talking about how much time this will save and how much better we'll be able to serve our customers. Maya drove home feeling accomplished and optimistic about the future. She had proven to herself and others that she could succeed in programming. More importantly, she had created something that would genuinely improve a local business and the lives of its owners. That evening, she celebrated with Carlos and Sophia by ordering pizza and letting them stay up late to watch a movie. As they snuggled on the couch, Carlos asked about her presentation. Did you show them the cool computer program you made, Mama? I did, Mijo. And Mr. Martinez loved it so much he wants to use it in his shop. Sophia looked up from her coloring book. Are you going to make programs for other people too? Maya smiled, thinking about Professor Chen's offer to connect her with software companies. Maybe, Princessa. We'll see what opportunities come up. As she tucked her children into bed later that night, Maya allowed herself to dream about the possibilities ahead. The semester that had started with doubt and skepticism was ending with recognition and opportunity. She had not only proven her capabilities but had opened doors to a future she was excited to explore. 3 months after the semester ended, Maya's life had transformed beyond recognition. Professor Chen's industry connections had led to interviews with 4 software companies, and she had accepted a position as a junior developer at TechFlow Solutions, a company specializing in small business software. Her starting salary was more than double what she had earned cleaning offices, and the company offered flexible hours that allowed her to pick up Carlos and Sophia from school. But the most satisfying part was that her first assigned project was expanding the auto repair shop system into a product for TechFlow's small business clients. Maya sat in her new cubicle, which had 2 large monitors and a brand new laptop that could run development software without any lag. Her desk displayed a photo of her children and a handwritten thank you note from Carlos Martinez, who had become something of a local celebrity among auto repair shop owners after word spread about his revolutionary new computer system. Maya, how's the garage management software coming along? Asked Jennifer Kim, her team lead. Jennifer was only a few years older than Maya but had been programming since high school. Really well, Maya replied, turning to show her latest code on screen. I'm adapting the original Martinez auto repair system into a configurable platform. Shop owners can customize workflows, pricing structures, and customer communication preferences. Jennifer reviewed the code with obvious admiration. Your documentation is incredibly thorough. And this modular architecture makes it easy to add new features without breaking existing functionality. Maya had learned the importance of clear documentation from her community college project. When other developers needed to understand or modify her code, comprehensive comments and explanations made everyone's job easier. I want to show you something exciting, Maya said, opening a new browser tab. Carlos Martinez has been beta testing the multi-location features I added. She logged into the admin panel for Martinez Auto Repair, which now operated 2 locations thanks to the efficiency gains from Maya's system. The dashboard showed real-time statistics from both shops, work orders in progress, parts inventory levels, customer satisfaction ratings, and revenue trends. He hired 3 new mechanics and expanded to a second location within 2 months of implementing the system, Maya explained. The automated scheduling and inventory management freed up enough of his time to focus on business growth instead of administrative tasks. Jennifer whistled appreciatively. That's the kind of impact that gets noticed by upper management. Have you documented the business results for our case studies? Maya had been meticulously tracking the performance improvements at Martinez Auto Repair. Customer wait times had decreased by 40%, parts costs had dropped 15% through better supplier negotiations, and customer satisfaction scores had increased significantly due to improved communication. I have complete metrics going back to implementation, Maya said. Carlos has been incredibly generous with sharing data because he wants other shop owners to have access to similar tools. The success of Maya's auto repair system had attracted attention throughout TechFlow Solutions. The company's executive team was considering it as their flagship product for the small business market. Maya found herself invited to strategy meetings where her insights about small business operations were valued alongside her technical contributions. Her phone buzzed with a text message from Professor Chen. Maya, I hope you're available for a call this afternoon. I have an interesting opportunity to discuss. Maya smiled, remembering how different their relationship had become. After her successful presentation, Professor Chen had become one of her strongest supporters. He regularly referred promising students to her for mentoring and had even invited her to speak at programming conferences about bridging the gap between technical skills and business understanding. During lunch break, Maya walked to the company's outdoor terrace to return Professor Chen's call. The fall weather was perfect, and she could see downtown from the elevated office building. Maya, thank you for calling, Professor Chen's voice was excited. I just got off the phone with the dean at State University. They're launching a new program called Technology for Social Impact and they want you to be a guest lecturer. Maya nearly dropped her phone. A guest lecturer? Professor Chen, I've only been programming professionally for 3 months. That's exactly why they want you, Professor Chen replied. Your story demonstrates that programming can be a path to economic mobility for people from diverse backgrounds. And your Martinez Auto Repair case study shows how technology can transform traditional businesses. Maya considered the opportunity. She had always been interested in teaching, and she remembered how much the encouragement of older students had meant to her during challenging moments in community college. What would I be teaching? Real-world application development with social impact focus. Students would work with local nonprofits and small businesses to create technology solutions that address community needs. The idea resonated deeply with Maya. She thought about all the small businesses in her neighborhood that could benefit from better technology, and all the students who might be discouraged from pursuing programming because they didn't see people like themselves in the field. I'd love to do it, Maya said. When would the program start? Spring semester. The dean wants to meet with you next week to discuss curriculum development and your role in the program. After hanging up, Maya sat in the sunshine for a few more minutes, reflecting on the unexpected directions her life had taken. She had started community college just hoping to learn enough programming to get a basic tech job. Now she was being invited to help design university curriculum. Her phone rang again, this time showing Carlos Martinez's number. Maya. I have incredible news, Carlos's voice bubbled with excitement. Do you remember Tom Green, the restaurant owner from your presentation day? Of course, why? He's been talking to other restaurant owners about what you built for us. There's a whole group of them who want to hire you to create similar systems for their businesses."
Maya felt a flutter of entrepreneurial excitement. "How many restaurants are we talking about?"
"8 so far, but Tom thinks he can get more. They're willing to pay good money for custom systems like ours."
"Maya, you could start your own company."
The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. Maya had been comfortable in her new job at TechFlow, but the opportunity to build her own business around helping small companies was exactly aligned with her passions.
"Carlos, let me think about this. It's a big decision." "I understand, but don't think too long."
These business owners are excited about the possibilities, and they trust my recommendation completely.
That evening, Maya discussed the opportunities with her children over dinner.
At 9 and 7 now, Carlos and Sophia had mature perspectives about their mother's career changes.
"Mama, if you become a teacher, will you teach kids like us?" Sophia asked.
"I'd be teaching college students, Princessa, but maybe someday I could create programs for younger kids too."
Carlos Jr. looked thoughtful. "If you start your own company, would you be the boss of everything?" Maya smiled at her son's directness.
"I would be responsible for everything, which means making all the decisions but also taking all the risks." "You're really good at solving problems," Carlos said seriously. "Maybe you could help lots of people if you had your own company." After the children went to bed, Maya made lists of pros and cons for each opportunity. Teaching would allow her to influence the next generation of programmers and ensure diverse voices were included in technology education. Starting her own company would let her focus specifically on helping small businesses while building financial security for her family. The next morning, Maya scheduled separate meetings with her boss at TechFlow, Professor Chen, and Carlos Martinez to explore each option more thoroughly. Her conversation with Jennifer Kim proved surprisingly supportive. "Maya, you've brought a unique perspective to our team, but I understand the appeal of entrepreneurship.
What if we discussed a consulting arrangement?
You could develop your small business software company while maintaining some connection to TechFlow."
The partial consulting arrangement would provide financial stability while Maya built her client base.
TechFlow would continue developing their version of the auto repair system for national distribution, while Maya would focus on custom solutions for local businesses.
Professor Chen was equally encouraging about the teaching opportunity.
"The university program is designed for working professionals. You could teach one course per semester while maintaining your business.
Many of our best instructors bring real-world experience into the classroom." Maya realized she didn't have to choose just one path.
She could build her consulting business, teach part-time, and maintain connections with TechFlow. The combination would provide income diversification and allow her to pursue all her interests. 2 weeks later, Maya submitted her formal proposal to the university for the Social Impact Technology program. Her course would partner students with local small businesses and nonprofits to create custom software solutions. Students would learn not just programming techniques, but also how to analyze business processes, communicate with non-technical clients, and measure the real-world impact of their work. Carlos Martinez helped Maya set up meetings with the restaurant owners who had expressed interest in custom systems. She spent several evenings visiting different establishments, analyzing their operations and identifying technology opportunities. The restaurants had surprisingly similar challenges to auto repair shops, tracking orders through complex workflows, managing inventory with multiple suppliers, coordinating staff schedules, and communicating with customers about order status and timing. Maya proposed a systematic approach. She would develop a base restaurant management platform that could be customized for each establishment's specific needs. Rather than building completely separate systems, she would create modular components that could be configured differently for fast casual versus fine dining, delivery-focused versus dine-in, family restaurants versus specialty cuisines. Tom Green became her first official client, agreeing to pay Maya $15,000 to develop a comprehensive management system for Green's family restaurant. The system would handle online ordering, kitchen workflow management, inventory tracking, staff scheduling, and customer relationship management. Maya negotiated similar contracts with 3 other restaurant owners, giving her enough revenue to leave TechFlow and focus on her consulting business full-time. She would start teaching at the university in the spring while building her company during fall and winter. The transition felt both exciting and nerve-wracking. Maya was leaving the security of a steady paycheck to bet on her own abilities. But she had proven to herself that she could solve complex problems and deliver valuable solutions. More importantly, she had found work that felt meaningful and aligned with her values. On her last day at TechFlow, the development team threw a small celebration in the conference room. Jennifer Kim presented Maya with a framed screenshot of her original auto repair system alongside testimonials from Carlos Martinez about how the software had transformed his business. "Maya, you've shown us all what's possible when technical skills meet genuine understanding of business needs," Jennifer said. "We're excited to see what you build next." As Maya packed her personal items from her desk, she found the handwritten note from Carlos Martinez that had motivated her through many challenging days. His words seemed even more meaningful now. "Maya, thank you for creating something that didn't just solve our problems, but opened up possibilities we never imagined." That evening, Maya celebrated with Carlos and Sofia at their favorite restaurant. As they shared dessert, she reflected on the journey that had brought them to this moment. "Mama, are you nervous about having your own company?" Sofia asked. "A little," Maya admitted. "Starting something new is always scary. But I'm also excited about helping more businesses and teaching other students to do the same thing." Carlos Jr. raised his glass of chocolate milk in a toast. "To Mama's computer company." Maya clinked her water glass against his. "To new adventures and helping people achieve their dreams." 6 months later, Professor Chen sat in the back of Maya's classroom at State University, observing her first social impact technology course. 22 students were presenting their final projects, software solutions they had built for local nonprofits and small businesses. One team had created a volunteer management system for the food bank. Another had built a donor tracking platform for the animal shelter. A third team had developed an appointment scheduling system for a community health clinic that served primarily Spanish-speaking clients. Maya moved between project demonstrations, asking probing questions about technical implementation choices and business impact measurements. Her students clearly respected her expertise and valued her real-world perspective. "Ms. Rodriguez," one student said during the Q&A period, "your story about starting with community college and building your own company has really inspired our whole class. Did you ever imagine you'd be teaching at a university?" Maya smiled, thinking back to those early days when Professor Chen had questioned whether she belonged in programming at all. "I learned that our career paths are rarely linear. Every challenge teaches us something useful, even when we can't see it at the time." After class, Professor Chen approached Maya with obvious pride. "Your students are incredibly engaged. The quality of their projects rivals graduate-level work. They're motivated by working on real problems for real organizations," Maya replied. "When students see how their code can directly improve people's lives, they push themselves much harder than they would for theoretical assignments." Maya's consulting business had grown to 12 regular clients across various industries. She had hired 2 part-time developers to help with the workload and was considering expanding into a full-service small business technology firm. The success felt gratifying, but Maya was most proud of the broader impact her work was having. Several of her university students had started their own consulting businesses after graduation. Carlos Martinez had become a vocal advocate for technology adoption among small business owners, speaking at trade conferences about his transformation story. Most importantly, Maya had helped change perceptions about who could succeed in technology careers. Her story was featured in industry publications as an example of how programming bootcamps and community colleges could provide alternative paths into software development for people from diverse backgrounds. As Maya drove home from the university that evening, she passed Martinez Auto Repair's original location. Through the windows, she could see Miguel working at a computer terminal, probably updating work orders in the system she had built 2 years earlier. The sight still filled her with satisfaction. Her phone rang as she pulled into her driveway. The caller ID showed Carlos Martinez. "Maya, I have someone I want you to meet," Carlos said without preamble. "Her name is Lisa Chen, and she owns a small accounting firm." She's been struggling with client management and workflow organization.
Maya laughed, recognizing the pattern.
Carlos had become her best source of referrals, connecting her with business owners who faced similar challenges to the ones she had solved for him. "Carlos, you're going to make me the most successful small business consultant in the city if you keep sending me clients."
"That's the idea,"
Carlos replied cheerfully.
"You changed our lives, Maya.
I want to make sure other business owners get the same opportunity." As Maya walked into her house, she found Carlos Jr. and Sophia doing homework at the kitchen table where she had once struggled through her own programming assignments. The sight reminded her of how far they had all come.
"How was teaching today, Mama?"
Sophia asked, looking up from her math worksheet.
"Really good, Princessa. My students presented projects that are going to help a lot of people in our community."
Carlos Jr. paused in his reading to listen.
"Mama, when I grow up, I want to help people with computers like you do." Maya ruffled his hair affectionately. "You can help people in lots of different ways, Mijo. The important thing is finding work that matters to you."
That night, after helping with homework and tucking her children into bed, Maya sat at her computer to respond to emails from potential clients. Her business was thriving, her teaching was fulfilling, and her children were proud of what she had accomplished. She thought back to that first day in Professor Chen's classroom, when she had felt so uncertain about whether she belonged in the world of technology. The journey had been challenging, but every obstacle had taught her something valuable about persistence, creativity, and the importance of believing in herself.
Maya opened a new document to draft a proposal for Lisa Chen's accounting firm.
As she began typing, she smiled at the realization that she was no longer proving herself to others. She was simply doing what she loved, solving problems and helping people achieve their goals through the power of technology. The transformation was complete. From a struggling student facing skepticism to a successful entrepreneur and educator, Maya had not only found her place in the technology world but had helped expand it to include more people like herself. Her story had become proof that with determination, hard work, and the right opportunities, anyone could reshape their future and make a meaningful impact in their community.